Hello, Crystal Palace. Welcome to the Upper Norwood Library Hub's Library Live Lunch. This is intended as a place to share positive and useful local information, find out about the community in more depth, and keep us all connected during this time. So my guest today is Chris Dyke, who is a keen runner and running coach, and is about to start a live stream through the Library Hub to help people who are just starting their running journey. So Chris, thank you so much for joining me today. Tell us a bit about your background and what got you into running.
I ran a little bit when I was younger. Like a lot of people, I got out of the habit, and then in late 2017, almost 3 years ago, when I was physically and mentally in really bad shape, I discovered Crystal Palace Fun Runners, a club that's been running here for about 30 odd years. I picked a group I thought I could run with. They were a lovely lot of people. I knew some of them from parkrun, and despite the fact that I was falling back badly and just couldn't seem to keep up, they kept on coming back for me. Every time they got to a junction, they'd turn around and do a run back to collect me, and they just about dragged me around my first club run, for which I'll be eternally grateful, because I didn't look back after that. It's been a lovely time running with that club, and I thoroughly recommend people joining it.
That's such a lovely story.
Yeah.
That's a really lovely story. And you're coaching now as well.
That's right. Yeah, I got into run leading as part of the club, and eventually got my coaching qualifications earlier this year. Since last August, I've set up this sideline, if you like, the Crystal Palace New Runners, because although Crystal Palace Fun Runners is absolutely for everybody. They can run with you at whatever pace you're at. Some people were, still a bit nervous about the idea of joining a club if they had never ever run before, or if they had not run for a very long time. So I thought I'd set up a little group for people who are brand new, and we've been doing the Couch to 5K program, which we did a program throughout the last part of last year, and also one from January, which has been a great way to meet a lot of nice people in Crystal Palace.
Brilliant. What would you say are your kind of teaching aims or ethos?
I suppose it's about enjoying running. I think it's so sad that a lot of people got put off when they were young by running. They saw it as a punishment. They saw it as something to dread, doing PE at school.
Yes.
And so I suppose for me, yes, it's great if people can get to 5K or can get faster or run further, but really what matters is enjoying it. That's what these are about. I want people to get into enjoying themselves running. I want them to still be running in a year from now. So that's very much what we look to do, whoever you are, whatever your background is.
Fantastic. Cool. I just want to say quickly, welcome to everybody who's watching. I'm not sure, Facebook seems to have changed and we can't necessarily see who you are. I can see that we have Amy watching, so hi Amy. And she actually has a question for you, Chris. If anybody else has questions for Chris as we go along, please do put it in the Facebook comments or YouTube comments, and we will try and answer them as we go along. So Chris, Amy's question is, I have osteoarthritis in my hips. Is running okay for me?
I'll probably wave a big red flag there and cop out and say I wouldn't offer you any medical advice on that. I do always say to people, if you've got a medical query, please take it up with a medical professional. Having said that, if you do join, like I say, either my group or the Crystal Palace Fun Runners, you will soon realise it's not a case of that there are some people who have injuries and can't run, and some people who are magically injury free and do run. In fact, pretty much everyone who runs has something that is that is some sort of vulnerability or weakness, which they just have to watch. Most of us are running with either recovering from an injury or just watching a particular joint. Again, I wouldn't offer you advice directly on osteoarthritis, although there is a lot available. Generally, if a doctor says you can run, then run. I think the key is just not overloading. Not overloading anything that is a tricky part of your body. If you feel a twinge, stop, knowing when to listen to your body and call it a day. I generally find that missing a couple of weeks is preferable to pushing it too hard and then missing several months. We've all made that mistake, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But good luck, and I hope you can.
Brilliant. Thanks for that. We've been joined by Martin, Linley, Shane and Lucy. So hi you guys. And Amy says thank you for the encouragement. That's brilliant. And do you have a Couch to 5K program starting soon, Amy? I think we're going to answer that in a sec, actually. Because in fact my next question was going to be Chris, what have you been doing during lockdown? So there we go, that's perfect timing, I think,
Yes.
to answer Amy's question too.
As you're probably all aware already, the group runs themselves were suspended a few months ago on the UK Athletics advice. That's who provide my insurance. At the moment, we're still not doing those group runs. Having said that, the group itself has continued in different formats. I mean, we have a little WhatsApp group with some of the finest people on Crystal Palace on it, usually talking sensibly, giving each other a lot of encouragement as we go out and run solo. The current situation for running with other people, again, as you're probably aware, but do follow latest guidance, you can now meet up to 6 people. Now, my take on that is that doesn't mean that I could do a group run, because first of all, I'd have to pick my 5 favourite people to run with, which would be impossible. And also there is no way, we wouldn't be able to run close and have the nice cozy chats that our runs are all about. So I have been meeting people individually at socially distanced one-to-one training sessions, looking at people's technique, looking at people and leading someone through a session and giving them tailored programs, usually when they've got to 5K and want to take it a bit further. No, there certainly you can run with. I mean, I would suggest running with maybe one other person at a distance. Beyond that, I think you have to be a mathematician to work out all the angles of where 6 people fit in. So that's why I've avoided that. But like I say, the virtual club's going, the one-to-one sessions are going, and fingers crossed, of course, for the groups themselves to start when we can, essentially.
Mm-hmm. It's actually, I mean, I've found it quite difficult even running with one other person around Crystal Palace Park, say. In fact, to be honest, even running on my own around Crystal Palace Park is quite a challenge at times. There's all sorts of bottlenecks and things. Chris, I think you said that you'd been working out some alternative routes.
I have been. I've always been a bit of a nerd with different routes. I love to see different parts of where I live. I think what lockdown's meant for me personally as a runner is that, of course, what was previously a bit of a hobby, finding different routes, has now become essential. I mean, obviously, there's nothing wrong with Crystal Palace Park. It's an absolutely beautiful place to go, but unfortunately, everyone else will think the same. So I think it is important when we're observing social distancing, not only to be a very considerate runner, but also to just think a bit about time and place. I mean, even just thinking within Crystal Palace Park, for example, if you were to try and run around that dinosaur lake at the bottom, you're not going to get anywhere at the best of times. There's just no way of running around it. Having said that, the Italian terraces at the top of the park, of the same park, they've got the advantages of being fairly quiet, and crucially, they've got these big wide open spaces where you can give, never mind 2 meters, you can give everyone 20 meters space most of the time. So just pick a place, just go around your local area, and you'd be amazed just how many places there are for you. I found 72 different parks that I can run around, admittedly doing quite a lot of mileage, but that there are so many little green spaces I didn't know existed near me, and hopefully there are around you as well. So do explore, be experimental.
Amazing. 72 green spaces, seriously, around here.
That's if you're willing to run about 5 miles each way. But yeah, so if you are an experienced runner who can run 10 miles, there are 72 different parks available to you. That's what I counted. But even if you're doing, just a short run, then you can still find a lot of lovely places to run, which no one else seems to have found. So,
amazing.
Good luck.
Did you say that these were on Strava or something?
Yes, I've got a Strava profile. I think the link is below this video. I put all my routes on there, the big ones, the small ones, and it's got a tool on there to make your own. So, like I say, I do recommend out and back routes if you're worried about getting lost. So, if you were going to do, say, a 10-minute run, then run out for 5 minutes and run back. Then you'll not be stranded in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, like I say, do give your local area a look.
Tell us a bit more about out and back, because this is something you mentioned when we were chatting the other day as part of how you operate.
Yes, it's I mean, through a bit of trial and error, I worked out that when we do our club runs, when we get those, when we start our group runs back again, I do like having a nice out and back route. It just means that no matter, even if we have very, very different paces, people running at very, very different speeds, it doesn't matter, because the faster people will run out further and they'll come back further. So we all finish at the same place. If you join the fun runners and they divide it into pace groups because they've got the people to do that, then they will be able to do run backs as well, keeping everyone together in the same group. So like I said, it is all about staying together on these.
Cool. How does it work? I can't quite picture this in my head. I mean, out and back, presumably you're literally going out and coming back the same way. So you're going a certain distance and then coming back along literally the same route. How does that work for people going at different paces?
Oh, sorry. So let's just say you've got, let's just say, I go out with, a beginner and running legend Paula Radcliffe. We all go out on the same run together. We start running off in a straight line. Obviously, Paula Radcliffe is way out in front of us. A beginner runner might be a little behind me. We all have it set on our watches or whatever we're using that let's say after 10 minutes we're going to turn around because it's a 20-minute run. So all of our watches go beep or our phones go beep at 10 minutes. We all turn around. The beginner closer to where we started, me a little further along, and Paula Radcliffe somewhere up in North London. We all turn around, and because Paula Radcliffe is going to run much quicker than us, by the time we get back, she'll have caught us up.
Okay.
So that's handy for just those long, steady runs, but even for the interval, the repetition runs that you get on Couch to 5K, you can still work out ways to do that. Or once you've done a few runs, I think people have gauged what their pace is like, and they can work out quite a nice little loop that they will finish in roughly that time as well. So yeah, like I say, don't worry about making your own routes. You may end up stranded occasionally, but that's rare, and for the shorter runs, you won't be too far from home.
Yeah, brilliant. And I guess that helps with consistency as well, because if you've run for 10 minutes and you're aiming to take another 10 minutes to get back the same distance, that's quite good for checking if you're wanting a consistent
it's wonderful
pace.
for checking pace. Yeah, we even did a little competition where we we were giving extremely token prizes, but just a sort of honourable prize for the person who finished exactly at the point we started. So it's not about being fast or anything like that. It's about, can you keep the same pace? That's a key element of people's running, a key part of your running skill set, whatever your pace is. And it's tricky at the best of times, but if you can avoid going out too quick, which the vast majority of people do, then it does put you in good stead for your running journey.
And actually, just you mentioned Crystal Palace Fun Runners. They every month, under normal circumstances, I think they paced the Crystal Palace Park Run, and I've always been really impressed about that, because you'll have somebody with sort of everything from like 20 minutes to 35 minutes with the sign on their back, and they'll be running aiming to finish at that time. And actually, I got my fastest ever time of like, I think I just made it in under, I can't remember if it was 24 or 25 minutes now, but that was huge for me. That was like a massive change, and it was entirely because I had a Crystal Palace Fun Runner pacer who kept turning around and shouting some quite aggressive encouragement. But so I've always been really impressed that they are able to do that and to gauge it so exactly. It's very
I think if anyone from Crystal Palace Fun Runners who does the pace thing is watching this right now, they're probably laughing, because let's just say we try and finish in the right order. But no, in fairness, some of us do. Some people, I was about to say some of us. No, some of the club do manage to get in pretty much bang on the time. It varies. We are amateurs and doing our best there. But you'll get more or less around that time, or your money back. No, I've always enjoyed that. I've done a lot of those times, and usually been more or less accurate. But I'll tell you what, actually, Crystal Palace Park Run's a really difficult course to pace, because you go up the hill and down the hill. So it's not just sticking to the same pace. So
and different routes depending on the time of year and things. So sometimes it's one lap, and sometimes it can be 3 around a different bit of the park, and it's all quite variable, isn't it? We should probably say, for anybody who's watching who doesn't know, that Parkrun is a global thing. It's events on Saturday mornings in parks all over the world, and it is free. So Chris's comment about your money back, the event's free, just saying. Brilliant. Chris, I think I was going to ask you if you had some tips actually that you'd like to share with us ahead of your live stream starting on Thursday. So guys, if you're watching this, and actually hello to Gary and Tina and Mariana who've joined us as well. So Chris is going to be starting a live stream running coaching through the Library Hub on this Thursday. So, Chris, do you have 3 tips that you would give to somebody who's starting running? Or I guess a lot of people have probably started during lockdown because of the situation and wanting to get outside and get more exercise and stay fit when we're all a bit more static than maybe we'd normally be. So do you have 3 starting tips for us?
I mean, like I say, I'll be covering different points every Thursday. I'll be looking at a particular exercise to do. I'll be looking at a particular approach to running, but also looking at some of the practicalities around running as well as the fitness side of it. But I think if I had to pick 3 things, I suppose the first one is, for most people, slow down. Some people have been surprised that they've done running coaching for the first time in their life, and their coach keeps saying, "Go slower, go slower, go slower." The vast majority of people, I think, even if they say they're not a competitive athlete, they feel that urgency to run quicker, to keep improving all the time. Whereas, I mean, even if I am training to improve a PB, to try and go faster at something, about 80% of my miles are going to be at a very easy conversational pace. So take it slowly. And the thing that I find most heartbreaking about that is when people say to me, "I know that, but I worry that I'm going too slowly, that if I go any slower, it's not really running." And I just want to tell people, there is no such thing as running too slowly. Okay, again, if Paula Radcliffe was watching me run, she'd probably check my pulse. Okay, there will always, once you get up and start moving your feet, 2 things will always be true. 1, you are faster than your sofa, and 2, you are slower than Eliud Kipchoge, fastest man on the planet. So everyone's between those 2 extremes. Doesn't matter. No one will ever tell you are too slow. Like I say, feel comfortable slowing down to a point where you can have a comfortable conversation. So that would be number 1. The second one is all of your preparation work. People think about running as being just the running, and I think most runners are pretty awful at getting their strength work, their flexibility in. We say there's the ABCs of running, the fundamentals that you lay down. You need to develop that agility, that balance, that coordination, because those are the bits that reduce the risk that we're going to get injured. So do your strength work at home, do your yoga work at home. Those are the things that will make your muscles stronger around your joints, and hopefully make you less likely to have time out injured. And the third one is just to listen to your body and be sort of kind to yourself. Don't feel the need to push yourself because too far beyond pain, because there will always be another chance to run. And you don't have to go faster than ever every time you do it. In fact, you shouldn't. So if you're running and you feel fatigued and you feel something hurting, that is your body's way of saying, just dial it down, take a day off, take a week off, take a fortnight off, see how it works out. I'm afraid that's something I've learned the hard way. I've far too many times I've pushed myself. I think sometimes we tell people that pushing through the pain is somehow a wonderful thing. I think pushing through the discomfort is something, but no, if you've got one of those sharp pains in a joint, just stop. And wait for the next run, recuperate, and that way you'll miss the occasional week and hopefully run the vast majority of them rather than have frustrating long spells out. So those would be my 3 things.
In the meantime, doing what was your second tip, which is doing the preparation work and the strength work at home, I guess. So actually, what would you suggest for people who are shielding or for other reasons not actually able to leave the house at the moment, who are maybe missing their running? Is there anything they can be doing?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, obviously, if you are ill, and that's the reason you're at home, then you will need to rest, of course. But if you are, if there's no medical reason for you not to be exercising, and you are stuck at home, then, like I say, look up yoga online. I love yoga with Adrienne. I think lots of people do.
Me
There
too.
are other yoga teachers available, but yeah, look up lots of yoga. I've got into yoga in a big way in the last year, and I think it's helped me avoid injury more. Do all your strength work as well. Like I say, you can look up strength work for runners online. I'll be doing strength work each Thursday, showing you one exercise at a time, and even things like working on your balance. Like I say, it's so crucial. In fact, Ellen, you can have a go with me right now if you like.
Brilliant.
Let's do a stalk test together. Great test of your balance, and also it's great at working the little muscles around your ankles. These, usually when we're running, we think about our big muscles around our legs, but it's these small ones that keep you stable, that that stop you spraining things. So let's have a go at the stalk test with you. I'll just here we go. I'm moving the camera down. I'm showing my feet live on the internet. Hello, Mum. So the idea of the stalk test then is just to stand with your feet quite close together and just lift up one foot off the ground. That's probably easy for most of you. If it's not, keep practicing that until you can do it for about a minute. If that is straightforward for you, then while you've got one leg in the air, just can you see that foot? Just go up on the toe. You don't have to go full, Kate Winslet and Titanic on this, but just see how long you can hold it. Oh, we're about to have someone crash into a laptop.
Yep.
Full disclaimer, all the rest of it. So see if you can hold that for a minute without holding on to anything, then you can, then you're doing well at it, and then you can take it to another stage as well. You can even start closing your eyes, which is thoroughly entertaining. I struggle enormously doing that, or putting your foot on a cushion, or something else that makes it unstable.
Wow.
So that's just one, just one of many exercises you can do just to build up that stability and help develop your balance, so that when you do go back to running, you go back to running, in better shape than ever.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Chris. I just tried that with both feet, and I am definitely more stable on one side than the other.
Yeah, so that would suggest if you do find it easy on one foot, that's probably your stronger one. So, like I say, just keep doing it with both. More on your weak one until the weak one is, also able to do that for a minute. A lot of us do develop unevenly. I mean, I think of the people who come and join our group, some of them have never done exercise before. Really, they're getting into exercise for the very first time, which is a real privilege to be part of that with them. Some of them have been involved with running before, been out for it a long time. Quite a common journey though is people who have done, say, team sports in their teens and their 20s, like doing football, netball, cricket, tennis, hockey, rugby, whatever it might be, but they never run before. So they're actually in pretty good shape with this. They have really good balance, agility, coordination. They just haven't, and their fitness is pretty good. They just haven't converted that into running. So a lot of people get into their sort of 30s and realise, hang on, it's we've all got jobs and families. It's now hard to arrange 11 people to be in exactly the right place at the right time. So something like running or cycling is preferable. But if you're doing that, then again, you can convert, you can transfer a lot of those skills into running as well.
Fab. So we're sort of getting towards the end of our time, but I would really love you to just tell us briefly about when your live stream is and what you're planning for it in a bit more detail.
Okay, this Thursday then, 7 o'clock on this channel. I think all the links are below, I believe. I'll be looking at 3 things. I'll be looking at the exercise sandwich, which isn't as appetizing as it sounds, but hopefully a lot more interesting. Basically how to structure any kind of workout, whether it's running or anything else, looking at warming up and cooling down and stretches, etc. I'll be looking at that talk test and how to pace yourself for Couch to 5K programs, and how to know if you're running at the right speed. And I'll just be briefly looking at running under social distancing as well, and some guidance that I've put on the website about, some of it's fairly obvious, some of it people haven't thought of before, but ways in which you can make sure that you're being a socially responsible runner and feel a bit more at ease about that as a result. So I'll be looking at those 3 topics this week, and then another 3 topics each week, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Me too. I'm definitely tuning in. Fab. Thank you. So final question really, how can people get involved or get in touch with you? So apart from the live stream, which is going out through the Library Hub Facebook and probably, I don't know about YouTube actually, but definitely through the Facebook page. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
And to get in touch with me, you can see the link to my website below this video, I think, crystalpalacenewrunners.co.uk. You can sign up there with all the usual various disclaimery bits, and I'll connect you to our lovely little community if you'd like to be connected to them, or you can just ask for some individual running training as well. Like I say, if you do feel like you're ready for a club, as I hope most of the people who come through the New Runners do feel comfortable, then by all means join the Crystal Palace Fun Runners straight away. They have currently waived their membership fee, so you can currently join for free and join the, as I say, the sort of the ultimate running community in Crystal Palace, really, and I'm hoping a lot of you do.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, thanks so much for joining, Chris. That's really interesting, and I can't wait to hear more on Thursday. It's definitely gonna help me with my running. So I've never had any training, but I have been running for a few years, so it'll be really fantastic to actually have some guidance. So looking forward to that. Thank you very much for coming to chat to us today.
Thank you very much.
Just following on from actually what Chris was saying about strength and preparation work, it just so happens that as part of our live streaming program through the Library Hub, we have certain things that might be useful for those of you who are wanting to work on that. So we have yoga, I think quite a few sessions at the moment, and we also have things like Anya from SE19 Dance is doing a healthy spine workout every Monday evening, and I actually did it yesterday, and it's a proper workout. She said something at some point about it being, what did she say? I can't quite remember her wording, but something about it being quite a slow session because you had time to relax in between, and that was true. But if you want an actual proper full-on workout that is very much about core and how that relates to your posture and healthy spine, it absolutely was that. It was half an hour that I felt like I definitely worked hard by the end of it in a very good way. So we have those things streaming through the Library Hub at the moment. Please do check them out. We also have other things like mindfulness meditation. We have stories for children. We have singing classes. We have live music on Friday evening. We have cross stitch with Alice, and all sorts of things. So please do check it out. If you're interested in actually being a live streamer, so we obviously have Chris starting this week. We also have reflexology starting on Saturday. If you would be interested in being a live streamer through our channel, please do get in touch. Or if you're interested in being a guest on the Library Live Lunch to tell us about what you're doing at the moment, please also get in touch. info@unlt.org. We would love to hear from you. And then I've got a couple of other things to say. So one is Crystal Palace Festival has announced their plans for this year. They're going online for a weekend in August. It sort of hit the social media news yesterday. So do have a check it out and put the date in your diary. Also, Crystal Palace Town Team, which some of you may have come across, which is a group of residents. I mean, it's just Crystal Palace locals who want to improve the area, look after our independent high street and so on. Actually, we had Laura Card, who's on the town team, came and talked on the Library Lunch a few weeks ago. They have arranged their first open meeting, which is going to be online on the 4th of July. That's a Saturday, 11 till 12:30. If you look them up, you can register to get more news or to join the meeting, and it's really worth having a look at what they're doing. And then my final thing that I need to say is, as a lot of you may know, we have just launched a new project through the Library Hub, which is called All Alone Together. This is funded by the Arts Council, which we are very grateful to them for that. There's several different strands to this project, but we're looking at how COVID-19 has affected the community and how we, the Library Hub, can help fill any gaps and help the community rebuild going forward. So the first thing we need is to hear from you. We have a very short survey on the website. The address is below the video. It will take you maximum 10 minutes to fill in, and just that will be invaluable research for us in terms of looking at what extra services we can maybe provide going forward. There's also an option to say that you'd be up for being interviewed by me. We're going to be creating like an audio time capsule, so capturing people's voices, stories from this time, which will then eventually, short edited versions of the video, the interviews, will then be available through the Library Hub for members of the public to come and listen to. So, you know, in a few decades, you could bring your grandchildren to listen to you telling about your experiences from this time captured right now. So we'd love to hear from you for that. Please do fill in the survey, pass it on. We can't do any of it without hearing from the community. So please do get involved. There's various other strands coming up from that, so do please keep an eye out. It's all very exciting. But yeah, basically we would love to hear from you, and we can't do anything. We can't move forward with it unless we do. So please do fill in the survey. It's very quick, I promise. That's it from me for today. Tomorrow, I'm speaking to Ruth Hibbard, who is a member of the Norwood Society, to find out more about that. They usually meet, I think, once a month in the Upper Norwood Library Hub, and they've been doing an amazing project looking at the history of all the different streets around the different bits of Norwood, including Crystal Palace Centre. So the website is incredibly detailed. They've got so much information for so many streets, just about who lived here and what happened, the history of the buildings, the architecture. It's amazing. So please do tune in tomorrow to hear from Ruth. And that's it from me for today. So Chris, thank you so much for joining me. It's great to chat to you. Looking forward to your live stream on Thursday. Everybody else, thank you for watching. Stay safe. See you soon. Bye.